Good morning. This is Reverend Pam Geagan from the Center for Spiritual Living Pleasant Valley in Camarillo, California. And it's wonderful to be with you this morning as we begin our Science of Mind, as I'm moving around here, our Science of Mind. Uh, uh, what we're working on these next few weeks is Science of Mind Prayer Affirmative Treatment. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Ernest Holmes. But first of all, I am a Science of Mind minister. And the reason I am a Science of Mind minister, which takes many, many years, first become a Science of Mind practitioner because it is a healing, metaphysical healing. Um, what we learn is metaphysical healing, knowing that our energetic presence, our thoughts become things, and then the things become out in our third dimension physicality in our world. So what you go through first is you go through 3 years of Science of Mind practitioner training to learn how to use your thoughts and to pray from the oneness is the allness. And then you go into 3 years of ministerial school after that, and then you become a Science of Mind minister if you pass lots and lots of tests. So that's where I am with Science of Mind. But the reason I became a Science of Mind minister is, I'll be really brief. My mother was Catholic, my father was Jewish, and so they wanted us to have a religion, my sister and myself, so they sent us to Presbyterian church. Of course, they never set foot inside of the church themselves. And then we would come home and then they would discount everything that we learned from their personal perspectives. So, what this did was make me curious, where I wanted to go out and see what life and religion was all about. And that's what when I came upon Science of Mind, I thought, this is it. It embraces all religion. And I just want to tell you a little bit about Ernest Holmes, its founder. To me, he was an absolute mystic. He had that ability to see that grain of sand, in the world in a grain of sand, and heaven in a wildflower, as William Blake so beautifully said, who was also a mystic. And, that draw, as Rumi says, that ocean in a drop. And so I wanted to honor all faiths and to learn about all faiths and find that one fine thread. So Ernest Holmes was born in 1887, and he did so much during his lifetime. And he was born in Lincoln, Maine, and he was very, very poor. The family was very, very poor. And he was the son of William Nelson Holmes, and also his mother was also a very, very, very powerful influence in his life, Anna Holmes. So he became, when he went out on his own, he wanted to join, and he worked in a store. He wanted to go to school. He wanted to go to the Leland Powers School of Expression in Boston. And so he worked in a store to pay for his tuition during that time. And during that time, metaphysical and new thought was just streaming through the United States, from science, from Christian Science to Emerson to you name it. All of the new thought teachers, as they call them, and new thought meaning that they extrapolated from all of the thoughts that were before and wove them into their own fine line of what faith was and connection with the one thing that is streaming in and through in all of us at all time is. So that expression was riding high, and he came across Mary Baker's Eddy's Science and Health teaching, and which became Christian Science. And his brother Fenwick was in Venice, California at the time, and he was working for the city in the government. He was actually doing work for the school system in Venice. And he studied also the metaphysics in Venice, California, Fenwick. And so Ernest came out and joined his brother Fenwick in Venice, California. And Fenwick introduced him to the teachings of Thomas Trord, Ralph Waldo Emerson, William Walker Atkinson, and Christian D. Larson. And there were a lot of people at that time. So one so he came out, he married the love of his life, Hazel Durkee Foster, and who died in 1957. And he died 3 years later. He was so bereft without her. But after being out here, he started leading private meetings throughout the city in Los Angeles. And about a year later, he wrote a book, The Science of Mind. And then he went to Los Angeles. He went in Los Angeles. He started speaking each Sunday morning in a theater in the famous Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. And when he moved out here and he began to establish that teaching, he did not want a church. He did not want to specify of a religion. He wanted to be part of the Centers for Spiritual Living, which we are right now, which is that global recognition of independent religious science ministries and other organizations. He wanted to find that one fine thread throughout all the religions and allow people to use the spiritual tools which he created to enhance every religion that they were part of. They were not supposed to divide anything. They were not divisive. They were supposed to support which you were already committed to, whether it was Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, you name it, Bahalu, Vedantism, you name it, Mohammedism. He wanted everyone to find their own religion and that fine thread. So all religious science became, which is not Scientology at all. It became tools to help support spiritually all those in all of the other religions. And so he came up with, actually, he didn't come up with it. The people after he died in 1960 came up with what was the actual method of getting affirmative prayer in and through your mind and to use it daily to support whatever you want. And one of his greatest quotes was, "There's a power for good in the universe and you can use it." And then also he would use just the same thing as divine science, which he was ordained in, which is just about the same thing. If you look up divine science and science of mind, it was let it use you as well. Be open and receptive. So his book, The Science of Mind, described how to use this experience of one's thoughts and take them out in the world. So I'm going to start just this morning, just after this little bit of, and I'll tell you the beliefs tomorrow, and I'll tell you also how Ernest Holmes dealt with having this turn into an organized religious organization, which he never wanted. And I'll go into that tomorrow. But in this course, in the next few weeks, we're going to stay with affirmative prayer treatment and how to do an affirmative healing prayer treatment. And so my husband and I both were ministers at the Center for Spiritual Living, Pleasant Valley in Camarillo, until Patrick made his transition. And Patrick was so amazing to me, but he came up with an acronym for the steps of transition, and not transition, for prayer treatment. And they are there's lots of different steps. There's one that's a 5-step and one that is 7 steps. And I'll go into the difference of the 2 of them. But the 5-step is recognition, unification, affirmation, thanksgiving, and release. So he came up with the acronym Red Umbrellas Ate the Rain. And by the way, if you want information about what I'm saying, I will do a concise version for you and send it to you. If you write us at csl-pleasant valley at gmail.com, I will send out this information to you. So Ernest Holmes believed that when you had organized thinking and used and directed the power that you have within you, you could use these tools not to manipulate the divine in any way at all, but to allow the divine at its highest come in and through and as your experience, as you go to that highest expression of what you would like in this lifetime. So the uh, he believed in healing the sick through the power of the mind, the control of the conditions through the power of the mind, and the belief in the eternal goodness, eternal loving kindness, and eternal givingness of all life through the power of the mind. And so, what we're going to spend time on today and this week is recognition and what recognition means. And then we're going to end with a whole, and I'll go through each of the steps, science of mind prayer treatment. So, what we do first, and the introductions starting tomorrow will be much less. I just wanted you to know more about Ernest Holmes, a little bit more about Ernest Holmes. So, what we're going to do, and what my practice is I meditate every morning. I go within and I find out how to connect with that source, that one source, and I am open and receptive for that power of good in my life to come in and express in and through and as me at its highest. And then I kind of let go, I relax in, and then I ask to have whatever needs to be revealed in and through and as me to come to me. And then I go into science of mind prayer affirmative treatment. And the reason they call it treatment is because it is actually like a health practitioner treatment. I'm going to take a sip of water here. So in the recognition field, what we're doing is we are connecting with the one, the divine source. And when we connect with that one, we go to that highest place in and through and as us. And so in that recognition, it is connection, going and allowing that higher divine guidance to come in and through and as us. And so we're not going to necessarily meditate totally this morning, but we're going to just picture that wonderful energy coming in and through and as us, and recognize it as the one, the one, the one, expressing perfectly, beautifully in and through every cell of the body. And knowing that every cell is its own universe, and we are that universe. We are stardust, we're golden, we are 50 billion year old carbon. And so when we connect with that oneness, we are the unique expression. We are the fingerprint of what I call God. You can call it whatever you want, Hotep, whatever it is, Mohammed, Jesus Christ, the thing itself, divine divine spirit, whatever you like to do, and whatever makes you feel comfortable. As I breathe in every morning after my meditation, and I'm already connected, that energy flowing in and through and as my whole body, going down my legs, down my knees, down my calves, down my ankles, through the bottom of my feet, and connecting, as I say, anchoring into this third world which we live in, which we have our experience in and through and as. And then that energy coming right back up and flowing right through us, going right out the top of our heads and just surrounding us. And so then we speak our word in the positive. First, we have to know what we would like. And so as we always stay in the affirmative, we use that recognition in that first step. And so that recognition is whatever deity or energy that you would like, an angel, whatever you want to connect you to that heaven world. I use God. We know that there is only that one power, that one presence. And as I stay in the I am, we feel that connection. So as I say, let us breathe that connection in. And again, use whatever image you want. And as you breathe it in, with God is and I am. God is, I am. One more silently. And so this morning, before we'll be doing all the steps at the end, go into that oneness. I invite you to go into the quiet and the oneness and ask to have revealed to you that which is that oneness. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Where does it take you in your consciousness? Because it is the greater consciousness connecting with the consciousness that lies within you and into the subconscious where all your programming has been up until now. So just keep breathing in. And I always say, reveal to me that which needs to be known. In this oneness. And there are so many people that believed in this unified field. Einstein, who was a friend of Ernest Holmes. The mystics, the poets always talked about the oneness, the everythingness, which is the nothingness, and the allness that resides within us. And that power and presence, which I call love, saturating every cell of the body with consciousness. Just keep breathing in. Breathing in not only the recognition of something greater, whatever that is, that you are a part of. Know that you are united with it. Know at the end of this month, you'll have a spiritual tool to use every day, directing the highest good for the planet, the universe, yourself, and all. And seeing it out picture into this third world. Into this third dimension. And so I invite you again to choose something you would like to experience just today. That's greater joy, greater prosperity, deeper, greater love, flowing in and through in that circle of life as you, and embracing it. Greater friendships, expression of creativity, experiencing the Creator that creates its creation by means of you, me, and all in its own unique way. As we leave this morning, write it down. And then be aware of your thinking all day long. If it's greater joy, forgiveness for itself and all, whatever it is, come back to, I am experiencing greater joy, and I turn away from anything that is less than bringing the joy and the love in my body, my heart, and my mind to life. As I search, as I say, the great beyond within and without. And I use this tool of recognition, knowing that I am not alone. I am a cell and a cell and a cell and a cell and a planet and a universe and many universes. And yet, my power is so important. Because without my power, my life, all lives are a little darker. The light who I am is important to all. So I am choosing joy. This is my own personal one today. I am choosing joy. I am choosing the energy from joy, knowing that it is not something I have to manufacture within me. It is already there waiting for me to open up to it. And so in this recognition, I honor all of the sages, all of the teachers, all the religions that have gotten me to this point of discovery of who I am. I am the thing itself, and the thing itself is in and through and as me. And I recognize that greatness. So now I'm going to end and do the steps of the affirmative prayer that I invite you to use today in your life. So the first one is the one we spent time on, and we'll be spending more time and hearing more about it, more about Ernest Holmes this next week. It is recognition that there is something greater than I am, and I can use it. And so I unify with that. I don't have to outline it or do anything else. I am in unity with it. It's that two-way flow, in and through and as me, as it outpictures as me. Now I use my affirmation. Please come up, I'll be quiet for a moment, come up with your own affirmation using the I am, which is so empowering because there is only the one. And when you affirm in the I am, you are affirming in this oneness, this highest good that I rely upon to stream through me today as I release whatever holds me back and embrace all the good waiting for me to open up to it. So I am affirming great joy, great energy today in my life. And to anchor this affirmation for me, you can choose your own. I am choosing to turn away from anything that divides me from the joy of the one, the love, the God, the presence, the consciousness of all the great teachers in my experience today. And I breathe it in. Breathe in the moon, the stars, the sun, the joy, the laughter, the love, the fine thread of the love that connects all religions to the mind and the heart. Law is the thing itself that just says yes, but in that oneness is love. It is the passion that makes it and brings it forward. So that good that is greater than I am exists, and the passion for my desire is what brings that forward in that unification, in that affirmation, the unification. So my affirmation is I am the joy of God. The joy of God is joy in me. The love of God is loving me, and I am accepting that. I accept it. I affirm it. I accept it. In red umbrellas, 8, the A. Accepting, affirming, feeling it in my soul. Just for today, this is my spiritual tool that engages with all. That's my come from, just for today. Yours may be different. So every time there is a challenge in my thinking, in my beingness, in my friendships, in my knowingness that God is I am, I go back to I am the joy of God, and the joy of God is joying me. The breath of God is breathing me. The love of God is loving me. And this today, in each moment, and beyond today. And I give thanks for it. And just like in Ho'oponopono and every other teaching, the thankfulness is accepting that it is already done. There is no someday when I'm this, that, or the other thing. It is already done. It is done. It is done. It is done. My thinking is powerful, and I use that thinking today to be that joy and expression of the one, the one, the one, the thing itself that resides in me, through me, as me, and all around me. And then I release it. I don't have to worry about it, perseverate about it, revisit it all the time. I just know that that expression of joy is where I come from in all circumstances today. So I give great thanks, and then I release it. And then I say, and so it is, in that release step. It is done, it is done, it is done. And it is done unto me as I respond to others and other circumstances in my life, as I know I am always a choice. So today, in this recognition, I just give great thanks, let it go, know it's so. We come back together in this moment as we discover one of the greatest tools in our spiritual toolkit we have. And I feel the chair underneath me. I feel my feet on the ground. I feel all the energy just surrounding me in this connection as I say, namaste, peace out. I love each and every one of you. God is the power and presence within each and every one of us, the divine spirit, whatever you want to call it. And so it is. Have a great, great, blessed day, and I'll be back tomorrow morning. And email me at csl-pleasantvalley@gmail.com if you would like copies, a concise copy of what I said today and in the coming days as well. Have a wonderful, joyful, blessed day. See you tomorrow. Bye.